Shalom, friends. I'm sitting with a Jew for Jesus, but you can read that. Jeremiah, where do you live?
I live in Chicago.
That's a city in the Midwest in the U.S., and it's winter. So describe that to the Australian world.
Well, there's a little phenomenon called snow, and
We've read about that.
it's like sand, but it's white.
We have white sand.
Yeah. Heard you have really nice beaches.
Oh, you've been to the beaches
I have.
there. In fact, I have video of Jeremiah swimming at the waterfall in Litchfield National Park in outside Darwin. We had a good time in Australia. You came with the music team, the Liberated Wailing Wall, back 10 years ago. Wow. There you go. Jeremiah lives in Chicago. He's the head of our work there. And you have one wife and how many kids?
4 last time I checked.
Yeah, you need to check often. No, there are 4 kids, and they're all young. They're all beautiful. And I just was listening to him have a chat with them. I love that part of life where you get to be the daddy, and the kids love talking to you. But you're going home tomorrow, back to Chicago. We've had our meeting, our leadership meeting here. And the folks in Australia, New Zealand, Singapore who get this video, what do you they're going to pray. They're going to pray for you. What do you want them to pray for you in Chicago? Chicagoland, as they call it.
Well, we are gearing up for our summer camp, Camp Gilgal, which is an important ministry of raising up the next generation of Jewish believers in Yeshua. And so we really need prayer for staff, for recruitment for the kids, and that's what the next several months will be for.
This is a sleepaway camp. How long does it last? 1 week?
For the smaller kids, it's 2 weeks. For the teenagers, it's 1 week, and then for the older teenagers, it's a week.
So the older you get, the less you get of you. But the staff, how many staff do you need for the 2-week kids camp? That's 8 to 12 years old, right?
Yep.
It's 8 to 12.
We need a good handful. We need 2 handfuls of staff.
Yeah, and who's directing camp this year?
David Randall.
Okay.
Who's here?
David, who lives out here in San Francisco, lived in Chicago with his wife for a good long while, and so they're going to come back and lead the camp. That's really good.
Yeah.
What about, describe Chicago for the folks. What, besides the snow, it really is cold. I mean, it really is cold. We lived there, Patty and I lived there for 18 months, 2 winters. I think that counted for 10 winters, so we got extra credit. Boy, I mean, you'd go from your car to the house and your nose would freeze. I mean, that was cold. And it was a short distance. I mean, I'm not walking through a forest.
Yeah.
But besides it's cold, how many Jews live in Chicago?
About 290,000.
Almost 300,000 Jewish people in the greater Chicagoland area.
Yeah.
And we've been in Skokie, that's our headquarters, for a long time. How long? Like
Since the
70s.
78.
Yeah, so 40 years. Having an anniversary, I guess. The feel of a Midwest Jew versus a New York Jew, or is there a difference between the Jewish people?
Yeah, they're less in your face, as a New York Jew would be, but a lot of Midwestern Jews, at least in Skokie, they're very practicing.
Religiously practicing. There's kind of, in the northern end of Chicago, you might find a lot more liberal Jews, and but they're all very strongly cultural. They very strongly identify as being Jewish. Which means when you come to them with your Jesus shirt, their identification is, hey, you're not one of us.
Right. That's not me.
Yeah, because I'm Jewish. Well, do you practice? No, I don't practice. Do you go to synagogue? No, I don't. Why would I go?
But we don't do that.
But that's out of bounds.
That Jesus thing, right?
Yeah, so the issue of Jesus for Jewish people is a tough one. And it really approximates the Sydney Jew, who doesn't practice as well. I mean, there are practitioners, of course, but the Sydney Jew is comfortably Jewish. I know where I live. I live in the Jewish section. I know who my rabbi is, but I would never go and talk to him. We pay him, he preaches, but I don't go to the synagogue. There's a whole lot of, but if you come with Jesus, that's too much.
Mhm.
So the Sydney Jewish people, the Sydney Christians will understand the Chicago Jews because it's very similar. And wealthy, smart, intellectual are Jewish people all those things? Not us, but the other Jews.
Yeah, they're middle to upper class for the most part in Chicago. Very educated. A lot of them have been to Israel. A lot of Holocaust survivors in Skokie. So,
Okay, and personally, the people will pray for Jeremiah. What will they pray for you? What do you want? Not pray for the ministry, although you'll do that too, but to pray for you.
yeah, just personally, that always the hardest thing in Jewish missions is finding Jewish people who are open. So I would love for you to pray for open doors, that God would give a strategy, but also bring Jewish people our way who are ripe for the gospel.
And so 300,000 Jews, you got to find one or two every week. They got to be around. Personally, for you, how's you get up every morning. We've been staying together this week in the same flat, and it's been great. You didn't join me in that singing of the music. I've found some Christian television that has some seriously different music than we usually listen to. So it's called Southern Gospel, and I've been loving it. It's just they sing on the backside of the beat, and it's just a lot of fun for me. But you are in the other room. You're reading your Bible. You're praying. You're doing all that kind of personal devotion. I'm singing my devotions, and it's a lot of fun. Do you find it difficult? You've got 4 kids and 1 wife. Do you find it difficult to have that quiet time like we've had at the flat? Do you find that a little more difficult?
You have to wake up pretty early before the
youngest.
Yeah, the children become restless. I also just find it hard to balance the spiritual nourishment and exercise, if you will, with the physical.
Oh, both.
Yeah. So if I go to the gym, then I don't really have time to do my devotions. So I'm trying to figure that out.
Well, bodily exercise profits a little.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good. We both like to exercise. We both like physical activity, and we both like spiritual stuff. So you keep praying for Jeremiah, for his wife Hannah, for their little kids. They're beauties. Each one is more beautiful than each other. And the work in Chicago. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Shalom.